morning, good
de votre
evening,
pays de connexion.
according to where you are connecting from.
C'est un grand plaisir pour moi de pouvoir
It's
vous
a
retrouver
pleasure
sur
for
cette
me
nouvelle
to
session de la série Innovation
welcome
organisée
you at
par
this new
la
session
PAFO et
of
le
the
COLEAD. Donc, la PAFO
Innovation
qui est une
Series,
organisation donc, des
PAFO-COLEAD,
agriculteurs qui rassemble un peu les organisations paysannes du continent africain,
of
portent leur
the
voix,
PAFO,
défendent
which
leurs
is the
intérêts
organization of the
et
Pan-African Organization of
essaient de porter leur voix sur les débats politiques économiques.
farmers.
Et comme vous le savez, le
As
COLEAD
you
est
know,
notre organisation
COLEAD
internationale à but non
is an
lucratif qui
international
existe
organization
depuis 50 ans aujourd'hui,
existing for
œuvrant dans la
more
filière
than 50 years
agricole
now
et
and
agroalimentaire en Afrique, dans les
helping
Caraïbes, dans les Pacifiques,
the
avec un fort
agri-food
engagement donc, pour
industry
la
in
durabilité et le
Caribbean
renforcement
and
des
Africa and the
capacités.
Pacific.
Et aujourd'hui, nous sommes
Today,
très heureux de vous retrouver
we're
autour de la
very
26e session.
pleased
Donc, nous en
to
avons déjà organisé
welcome
25.
you at this
Et la
this
thématique
26th
aujourd'hui
session.
porte
We
vraiment
already had
sur
25 before. And the
le
topic today
financement donc, des
is on
entrepreneurs
the
agroalimentaires, donc les
financing the
stratégies
African
pour
Agri-Food
accéder donc, aux
Entrepreneurs
investissements.
and
Et
strategies
je
to access
suis
investment.
Ahoefa Soklou
My name is
et
Ahoefa Soklou,
j'ai le plaisir donc d'animer
and I am very pleased
le
to
panel ce matin,
be
ce midi,
moderating
dépendamment
the
de votre
panel of
localisation. Et je suis
today.
chargée de projet au COLEAD. Je suis basée au bureau
I
du
am
Togo.
based in Togo.
Donc, avant de donner la parole pour les
Before
discours
I give
d'ouverture,
the
donc je tenais à
floor
rappeler quelques
to
règles
panelists, I would
d'usage
like to
généralement
remind
qui
you of
régissent
some
nos sessions.
rules that
Donc,
we use during our sessions.
Donc, notez donc que la session est disponible en anglais, en français et en
You will be able
portugais.
to follow
Donc,
the session
n'hésitez
in
vraiment
French,
pas
English,
à
and
choisir la
Portuguese.
langue donc,
Do
de
not
votre
hesitate
préférence
to choose the
donc, pour pouvoir
language you would
suivre la
like to
session dans la
listen
langue qui
to.
vous convient. Et la session est
The
enregistrée
session
actuellement et elle sera mise en ligne
is
donc, sur notre
being
page
recorded
YouTube que nous vous invitons à
and
visiter.
will be
Et toutes
posted
les
on our
ressources donc, qui
YouTube
seront
page.
utilisées tout au long de cette
All the
session, que ce soit les
resources that are used
présentations,
during the
les,
sessions,
les
the
biographies donc,
presentations,
des panélistes
the
seront mis à disposition
bios of the
tous les
panelists
participants
will
ici
also
présents donc,
be
sur notre plateforme
distributed to
AgriFI,
the
mais également
participants
par
who
mail qui
are
vous seront
here. They're
partagés.
also available on our
Et
platform.
nous vous encourageons à
And we encourage
interagir
you
vivement
to
donc, avec
interact
les panélistes en
with
posant des
the
questions, en laissant vos commentaires
panelists, asking them
dans l'onglet
questions
donc
or leaving a
questions et
comment
réponses qui est dédié
in
donc, aux
the
questions-réponses.
Q&A
Et
tab
c'est avec plaisir
below
que
in the menu.
à la fin, donc nos
At the
panélistes
end, our panelists will read your questions and take time to answer them. We will have two parts in the session of today. One panel devoted to sharing experiences of agri-food entrepreneurs who have been accessing and mobilizing finance in Africa, and they will say how they had this experience. In the second part, we will be listening to experts who are accompanying these farmers on the field. I'm now going to invite Mrs. Ines Bastos, who's a senior expert in business development with a co-lead, who will open this session. As I said, she's an expert in she has 2 decades of expertise in technical assistance, monitoring, and network management. At COLEAD, she has spent several years coordinating programs in Eastern and Southern Africa, and today she is engaging on the women empowerment within the COLEAD. Today, she has been working also with EDFI and AgriFI, and before being in the COLEAD, she worked at the Banca General de Depósitos.
So, as mentioned by Ahoefa, we have simultaneous interpretation. So feel free to look at the interpretation globe and select the language that you want. So I'm addressing although I'm Portuguese, I'm addressing in English. So good afternoon, good morning to everyone. It's really a privilege to be here today on the 26th session of PAFO and COLEAD gathering. So I want, first of all, to express our deep gratitude to PAFO and its CEO, Mr. Babafemi Oyewole, for co-organizing this session. So really thank you so much for our collaboration and for already this 26th session together. We really want to we are looking forward to continue to organize future sessions that tackle really key thematics that are critical for Africa's agri-food sector. So PAFO's leadership in representing African farm organizations is instrumental in driving the conversations and collaborations that will shape the future of the agri-food sector. Together, COLEAD and PAFO are committed to creating platforms like this one, like these sessions, where ideas, challenges, and solutions can be shared openly. And this particular session is quite instrumental because, as we all know, access to finance remains a very critical barrier for agri-food SMEs across Africa. It's not only in Africa, but in emerging countries, but also here in Europe. And we need to think that companies are not just businesses. They are really the engines and the backbone of the economies. They are the engines for food security, for rural employment, for climate resilience. Yet they struggle a lot to access the capital needed to scale their impact. So today we are here to showcase some entrepreneurs that managed to resist and to really connect with impactful investors. And we also have, from the other side, investors that are there to look for potential leads and to opportunities really to strengthen those leads, those companies. Before I give the floor to the speakers, because they are the stars of today's webinar, I would like to give a particular introduction to a collaboration where I was implicated as part of technical assistance. It's the COLEAD AgriFI and Cajou Espoir collaboration in Togo. A story that you'll hear more about from both the entrepreneur and the investor perspectives. They are here today. But it was really a great journey together, and it was very encouraging to observe how targeted technical assistance combined with impact finance can be really transformative and generate meaningful and sustainable business that drive long-term impact. But you will have the opportunity with Joël from Cajou Espoir and Natalia, who leads the TA at the AgriFI facility, to listen to their insights. In addition to Cajou Espoir and AgriFI, we also have here speakers, the founder of AgriZoom from Congo, that will share journey in mobilizing finance for agri-food innovation. We'll also hear the founder of Ecobed from Uganda, that will discuss experiences in scaling the business. Also representatives from Invest in Africa, who will share the other side, investor perspectives and financing trends. And we'll also have AgriFi investment team representative who will highlight opportunities for agri-food enterprises. So whether you are an entrepreneur or an investor or a partner that is offering support, your questions and insights will enrich our questions. So as Ahoefa already mentioned, please include your questions in the chat box or during the questions and answers. And really, let's use this time that we are here together to learn from each other and forge connections that extend beyond today. So I invite you to include your name, your company, your country in the chat box so that we also get to know you. And a big thank you for all of you for taking your time to be here with you. And now I call our partner co-organizer, Mr. Babafemi, the CEO of PAFO. The floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ines, for that introduction and giving us an overview of the various resource persons that will be intervening. Distinguished guests, esteemed partners, fellow farmers, entrepreneurs, innovators, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are joining us today. On behalf of the Pan-African Farmers Organization, PAFO, it is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the Innovation Series section number 26, focusing on financing African agri-food entrepreneurs, strategies to access investment, a topic that is at the very heart of Africa's agri-food transformation. We are grateful to our partner COLEAD for its technical support in organizing the innovation series. Today marks a milestone in our shared journey of learning, exchange, and innovation. Over the years, this platform has become a space where farmers' organizations, private sector actors, researchers, and policymakers come together to rethink the future of Africa's agri-food systems. Across our continent, we are witnessing a powerful wave of innovation. Young entrepreneurs, women-led enterprises, and farmer organizations are redefining agriculture as a business. They are building resilient value chains, leveraging digital solutions, advancing agroecological practices, and creating jobs. Yet, one persistent challenge continues to constrain this momentum: access to appropriate, affordable, and patient financing for investment. Today's session is therefore both timely and strategic. Financing is not just about capital, it is about unlocking opportunity, de-risking innovation, and building sustainable enterprises that can feed our continent. African agri-food entrepreneurs often operate in environments where risks are high, collateral is limited, and financial products are not tailored to the realities of agriculture. This creates a disconnect between innovation potential and investment flows. As PAFO, we believe that farmers' organizations are critical bridges in this ecosystem. We aggregate demand, reduce risks, strengthen governance, and provide platform through which entrepreneurs, especially smallholders and youth, can become investment ready and bankable. Through our networks across the continent, we see firsthand that when financing reaches organized farmers and agri-food enterprises, the impact is transformative on productivity, on incomes, and on food systems resilience. This session will explore practical and actionable strategies. How can agri-food entrepreneurs better position themselves to access investment? What innovative financing models, blended finance, impact financing, impact investment, digital finance are working in Africa today? And importantly, how do we ensure that financing mechanisms are inclusive, reaching women, youth, and grassroots enterprises? As we advance in the implementation of the CADEP Kampala Declaration, mobilizing finance for agri-food systems is no longer optional. It is an imperative, but this financing must be accessible, inclusive, and aligned with the realities of farmers and entrepreneurs on the ground. Let me also emphasize that this is not a conversation for financiers alone. It requires partnership between farmers' organizations, governments, development partners, private investors, and innovation ecosystems. Together, we must co-create solutions that work for Africa. I encourage all participants to engage actively, share experiences, and challenge assumptions. Let this session move us beyond dialogue to actionable pathways that unlock investments for Africa's agri-food entrepreneurs. Once again, PAFO would like to appreciate COLEAD for its support in sustaining the innovation series and assembling resource persons that bring their expertise and experience to discuss the various themes of the series. With these few remarks, I warmly welcome you once again and wish you all a highly productive and impactful session. Thank you. Over to you, the moderator.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Babafemi. Thank you for these introductory remarks. Thank you also, Ines, for these kind words. And now we come to the main question: how could farmers obtain financing and mobilize investments to develop their respective activities? As Ines announced, we have with us a number of entrepreneurs who are going to explain, provide explanations about their work. The first speaker, Stephen Nde, has connection problems, which means that we are going to move on directly to Jovia Kisaakye. Jovia, Kisaakye is a social entrepreneur. Working for a company adapted to climate, and she has been working with various institutions. So today, her work has been recognized by the United Nations, and she's also supported by organizations like MasterCard Foundation and different foundations today. She's deeply committed to climate change. She's very familiar with bioeconomy. Jovia, we are just delighted to have you with us, and it would be a pleasure to listen to you. I give you the floor for your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Soklou. It's afternoon here in Uganda, and I think it's morning to some people, and then it's afternoon to some people. So good afternoon to you all, good morning, good evening. Yes, so I'm Jovia from Uganda, and I'm the founder and CEO of Ecobed Biotech brand, and we turn food waste into value. So majorly what we do at Ecobed is turning food waste into fertilizers and animal feeds through the black soldier fly technology, as well as turning spoiled milk into a mosquito repellent skincare lotion. I don't know if you guys can hear me so well. If you can hear me, please say a hi or send an emoji. I know that I'm not talking alone. Yeah. But thank you so much. Yes, received. Yes, so at Ecobed, we also have a mobile application. We've actually just launched it. And this application is to help us collect food waste and also food surplus food so that it is not wasted from markets, from vendors, and then on the app they can easily sell it at discounted prices. And then also farmers have an opportunity to sell their produce while they are still fresh. And one of the things I've encountered in this journey, and one of the hardest things, has been looking for funding and looking for someone to believe in what you do. I remember in 2020, when we were just starting, we could write a lot of applications, reach out to different people, and no one would actually get to hear you. I remember the first person that gave me an interview was Anzisha, and when they came, they were like, "Oh, you're too small to, like for us to fund you." And yes, I got that, but then at least I got hope that at least my solution mattered and what I was doing really mattered. So it gave me a push. And lucky enough, by the end of that year, we were announced by Reforum for Reforum here in Uganda. I don't know, they're in different countries, but our first recognition was through the Reforum Impact Awards. I think they were in Benin by that time. Yes, and we got to travel to Benin, and this was the first $5,000 that we cashed as Ecobed. And I remember in all that 1 year, one thing that really stuck out for me was had I said, let me stop now, I wouldn't have got to that point of, okay, now there's someone that is believing in us. There's someone who has decided to give us $5,000 just unrestricted, like no restrictions on it. So that reminded me that if you are creating impact and if you are doing something that the community really values, never know what comes around. And then also keep on applying, keep on amplifying your work, keep on doing the very best that you can do. Yeah. So I guess that's enough of the chit chat. I think let's start with what we are supposed to cover today. So majorly one of the things that you really need to have when you're looking for funding, and also the strategies that really help you as a person, like you have to sit down when you're thinking about your solution. You have to think down and really plan. You need to go into the real planning. Personally, I get my ideas late in the night and I get out of bed, get a book and a pen and write these things down. When you write them down, it helps you plan better. It helps you do research about them. And as you're planning, you get to realize, what do I need? Those are the requirements. You get to analyze and also get to find out how best can I do this. And one thing I've realized, there's nothing new in this world we are in. Like, people just build up on what's already there. So try to find out, analyze, what are people using right now? How best can I solve it? How best can I improve it? And when you find that out, do your implementation. And when you're doing implementation, one of the best things that you need to do, when you go back to planning, actually, you need to do market research. Get to people, ask them, what are you using now? Like, it helps you. Okay, you start from, is this a problem for you? Majorly when you were starting with the mosquito repellent, we used to ask people, do you get sick of malaria? Is malaria a problem to you? Do mosquito bites usually bite you? And there were a number of people that would say, oh yes, they do. Oh yes, they do bite me, but I'm okay with them. Like, people that were not minding about it. And then there were people that really have decided to invest a lot of money in looking, can this work? Can this work? So there are all those different kinds of people, and all that information can help you define and also design what best works for people. And most of the times when you're asking these questions, you need to ask them, if a solution was made, what would that solution be? Like, what best thing would you love to see in that solution? And literally, a customer will give you ideas to put in your solution. So market research is a very good thing to do before you implement. Like, it helps you design majorly what the public really wants. And then also we go to, after implementation, you need to develop. Like, I remember that when we first made the mosquito repellent, we thought, oh, everyone has malaria. Like, we literally just need to sell to everyone. And my dear, that was in the thing. So we got to find out that most of the people that were buying our mosquito repellent were school-going children. So we decided to tailor our product to them, and we decided to name it according to what makes sense to students. So we had a product line of our mosquito repellent lotions named the Preps Master. And this was just for them to know that every time they are going for preps or the night readings, they have protection over mosquitoes, and that was the Preps Master. So after redevelopment, go back and test it, evaluate it, like, get to know. And most of the times when you're doing all these things, make sure you document everything. Make sure you document whatever you're doing, because most of the times, for you to really access funding, people need to find out. An investor will ask you, so where did you start from and where are you now? Like, what can someone see all these things without you just talking? Because most people are really good with their talking, but they have no proof about it. So make sure you document everything. Make sure it actually helps you so that you get to know, oh, we did this and this didn't work out. So how best can we do it? So yeah, next slide, please, Nina. Thank you. So I think we covered this in the other things, but yeah, growth and validation. So with growth and validation, this comes after you going into markets. And most of the times when entrepreneurs make products, they're like, oh, like they fall in love with their product and they think the product is what is going to sell. Like, okay, yes, it is going to sell, but have you reached out to these different people? Have you done what is necessary for you to be able to get the funds? So one of the things that personally I do to make sure I get customers is listening to feedback, asking them actually, you need to ask them, how did the product work for you? And get to know what do they really want and track their referrals, because most of the people, they will use your product and when they find out that, oh, Jovia is giving me her mosquito repellent, but the repellent comes with a sweet and a thank you note. Like literally, I usually have small things that I add on to what I am selling so that the customer gets to know that, oh, I am valued. So these little things get me referrals. Like someone will just refer you to another person and they'll be like, oh, try out Jovia's mosquito repellent. It is good. Like they will literally market for you. So treat them really nicely. And then also reinvent and also rebrand. So, and this is for, you need to rebrand and also reinvent. Actually, we started with a pink bottle and it was for the schools. But then we got to find out that most of the repellents that are in the market are literally green. So we decided, let's try out the green branding. And when we tried it out, it opened a very large market for us. Like most of the people were like, oh, the pink one looks like a girl's product only. And literally that was not what we meant, but trying out something new enabled us to realize some other bit of what the market thought about us. And then also look at the market trends. Most of the times when people are, I'll go to social media. Most of us that were in business before 2023 thought, oh no, if I'm to sell my product, I need to go to the market. I need to have a physical shop. But people are selling online. People are using TikTok. So go with what the market is. If the market is on TikTok, go to TikTok. If the market is in trade shows, go to trade shows. Like, do not be fixed on one thing. And then also invest in your customers and deliver quality. And that is in packaging mostly. Packaging, I say the thank you notes, the extra gifts. Like most of the times when I travel, I majorly look for those small, if they're not sweets, I look for small souvenirs that I can custom make and look like, I custom make them for customers so that it's an added advantage for them. And if a customer has been, or we majorly have people that refer us so much to people, we majorly make for them caps and hats. And this is just to tell them, oh yes, we see you and we value you. So another thing that I would really want to talk about is how to grow your business. One of the things is build your brand. It is you and you solely who is going to build your business. So make noise about your business. Personally, I move with my mosquito repellent everywhere I go. I tell people about it. I tell people about what I do. Like I'll meet each and every person and they'll know, oh, Jovia does this because I have talked to them before. And you know what that does for you is that people will associate you with your product. They'll know, oh, Jovia, the mosquito repellent girl is there. Like they will literally associate you with your business, and it is good PR for you. It is good marketing for you. And then also one of the things that I really want to talk about was pivoting. Be ready to let go of something and then also do something new at any time. One thing I learned about working with farmers is that they will have so many problems. Like they will literally have so many problems. Majorly when we were starting, we majorly wanted to solve the problem of spoiled milk. And we got to find out, oh, they do not have spoiled milk alone. They have they have food waste that is from their gardens. They have a problem with marketing their produce. They have a problem with their prices being reduced by middlemen. So as an entrepreneur, these are things that I cannot look on and just go about with my life. So I decided every single not every single year, but I think 2 years ago, that is when I learned about black soldier flies. And I was like, we can really replicate this. A friend of mine in Rwanda was doing it. And I was like, come and teach us to do this thing. So we have a demonstration farm for farmers about black soldier flies. And they have taken this up. And so many other people are now doing it here in Uganda. And one thing I have learned about innovations and all these things, like, it is not competition, because in the agriculture sector, you can never have enough food. You can never have enough food, and there's still demand for good products, good innovation. So there's nothing like competition. So if you need to benchmark, if you need to pivot and do something else, please do it. And then also this year, we have also introduced a NutriGrab app that enables the farmers sell their produce, also get inputs. So it is okay to keep on innovating for these people, because it is where we are, and investing in them helps you as well. So also invest in a good team and also grow it, because your team speaks a lot about your business. The other thing that we need to talk about is actually why we are here is getting access to funding. Yes. So before you go for a loan, or before you start looking for echoing green funding, because those are very big grants. There are grants that give you 5,000 USD, like Tonelu Melu. There's MasterCard. Like, there are those small, like, don't look at the big picture and be like, oh yes, I want to access this big funding. Yes, it is okay, but start with the very small ones. And then also do not look into investors right now, because when you are growing your business, you need someone to believe in you, like small amounts of money that they're not going to come tomorrow and oh, we need these results. So get to know the funders you are working with, like do research about the donors and also the people that they have worked with before. Like, this helps you get to know what do they fund. And then also proper documentation. I talked about that earlier. And one thing I can never stop talking about is attend events, talk to as many people as possible, because you never know who is listening. Personally, I got a grant of 5,000 USD in one night, and that was just by talking to someone. Like, I met this man at an event that a friend called me to attend, and just by talking to him and telling him what I do, he was part of the organizers, and he was like, would you want to pitch at the end of the event? I'm like, yes, I am ready. So after pitching, I emerged as the winner. But mind you, they had people lined up and people they brought into the country to pitch for these events. So you never know who you're talking to. So leverage free events, virtual or physical, and you guys are in luck because you're already attending all these events. So kudos to you all. The last slide, I don't think I even still have time, but
yeah. I mean, 30 seconds to just wrap up, please.
Yeah, thank you so much. So one of the takeaways and also opportunities, you guys need to register your businesses in strategic markets. Personally, I'm registered in the US. I have friends that are registered in the UK. Like, this enables you to access funding. Majorly for the US market, you need to have a physical sponsor. So look that up, get to know what does the physical sponsor want, and then also go for programs that do not directly give funds but train you. For example, YALI, but too bad YALI is now away. There's Duffaure Impact Foundation. They actually, if your impact is really good, they fund you for 3 years and they give you 20,000 US dollars. Like that is a lot of money. And then also one thing that you should start doing is making fundraising part of your routine. Like we have a lot of funding locally that you can access. Majorly, I'm a social entrepreneur, and we have events that are just to give back to the public. So I learned that there's a lot of funding in our local networks. Engage the public, show them what you do, tell them, oh, we did this and this. And as long as people see impact, they will literally fund you. So yes, I believe that is enough for today. And then also follow people that are doing the same work as you do. Personally, I follow a lot of, like when I meet people, the first thing I do is telling them, can we connect on LinkedIn? You never know where they have passed. You don't know the programs they've gone through. Like go through them, Google about them, get to their email, I actually just make sure I subscribe to their newsletters. I also get their emails and keep on seeing what do they have. Go to their website, see those opportunities that they have. So yeah, I think that is all. Thank you so much. It has been lovely.
Thank you, Jovia. Thank you for sharing.
Again, for sharing and for your experience, because it allows us to have an overview of your activities and how to raise interest on the part of investors. And of course, you must be open to your customers' expectations and be aware also of the costs involved. Thank you very much for Jovia. I invite you to stay till the end for the Q&A. And now we are going to move on to the next speaker, Mr. Joël Degboe. Joël is a finance director at Cajou Espoir. Joël is an accountant. Specialized in agribusiness, and he has a lot of experience as a financial auditor and as an accountant for working for financial institutions. Today, he is the CFO of Cajou Espoir, a company, a business involved in value chains, certified value chains in Togo. He's going to share their experience. He's going to tell us how they got organized, how they articulated their financial processes. Mr. Joël Degboe, I give you the floor. Thank you. Thank you, Ahoefa. I'm representing Cajou Espoir today. I'm going to introduce myself, or rather, I'm going to introduce what my structure is doing and how we are organized to obtain funds from different partners. Just to give you a brief idea of our company, it was created in 2004 by two partners who had been successful in the past and who decided to create jobs for their country and to create wealth in regions where there was no formal economy. So the company, in the meantime, evolved quite a lot. This business has a strong social impact. And for that reason, it was decided very early to build a first aid post near the factory in Chamba. We now have two factories, one in Chamba and another one in Bita, Center Togo. So now you have a first aid post, which is there at the disposal of the population. Sorry to interrupt you. Could you please show your presentation in slide mode? Okay. Full screen, please. Okay, thank you. Thanks. Okay now? Fine with you? No, not yet. No, please continue. Or should someone else do it? Just zoom a bit, please, for us to see the text. Okay, good. Perfect. Can you see? Yes. You zoomed too far. Okay. So, as I was saying, the company has developed, and we've now built a factory, a dispensary, and we decided to acquire plantations, that is to acquire land to plant our trees. Today we have 1,300 hectares, including 1,000 already planted. And we also were able to obtain certifications which brings added value to our products. We are organic, we get the EcoCert certification for organic products. We also have fair fat certification and a third certification, BRCGS. We also bought buses for transporting our staff, especially our laborers, and we maintain our contribution to environment. To this end, we have invested in a major central plant, solar power plant. In 2024, we decided to start beekeeping and with 500 hives installed. This is a long-term project. In 2025, the company decided to start extracting cashew nutshell liquid. It's a liquid which is pretty much used in sectors like painting. It is also used in brake systems for aircrafts, industrial colors, and so on. So now we are able to extract CNSL, cashew nutshell liquid. It's a highly corrosive liquid which we can find in cashew. And finally, in 2026, that is this year, the business started a cashew apple drying, because apples in the past, cashew apples were left on the field because there was no use for them. But now we are processing those apples, and this produce is sold on markets. People can consume cashew apples. So that was the history of our business. We employ more than 500 people, including 70% women. We've been helping more than 1,500 Togolese producers to get together and then work as a cooperative. And now this cooperative is organic certified. We are now Fairtrade certified. Fairtrade is in French commerce équitable, and this certification guarantees a minimum price to our producers. So whatever the situation on the market, you can't buy at a price lower than the minimum price. And the business is also able to negotiate sales in other countries as a fair trade business. And because of that, the producers receive a bonus. It is, of course, a commercial business, but we have a strong social impact. Now, I would like to give you about the challenges we are faced with in processing the cashew tree. First challenge, there is only one annual harvesting and purchasing season from February to April, which means that during that period, all stakeholders must be present. They must be alert to maximize the number of nuts for processing during the rest of the season. During that campaign, during that period, you've got to mobilize enough financial resources to operate the factories throughout the year. Second challenge, we need high-tech equipments and operational equipments because cashew kernels, cashew nuts are processed into cashew kernels with 20 different grades, which means that depending on the state of the kernel, whole, broken, price will differ. And the best kernels, that is the whole kernels, are the ones which would be sold at the highest price. And of course, for that, you need proper, appropriate equipment. We also need to comply with standards to ensure better product quality. And finally, and this is a problem which is specific to Togo, there is no real regulation of raw nut prices, no state regulation, which results in harsh competition. And this also limits the agency of processing stakeholders. In the past, exporters were the one who collected most of our activity. Now, what are the key features of Cajou Espoir? Over the years, Cajou Espoir has been able to create a strong capacity to create value, because we now are in control of our processing chain and we are in control of quality. We are present in plantations. We buy raw kernels, we process them, and we export them. The company is also maintaining a number of certifications, and these certifications are renewed each year. We annually receive auditors who make sure that we still comply, that we keep complying with the standards. And by doing so, we are able to obtain better selling prices. Another plus, we support more than 1,500 small-scale producers. And in addition to a selling price, thanks to us, they are able to obtain premiums, bonuses. By transferring from conventional crops to organic crops, we have been able to help them as well. In conventional cultivation, you can obtain between 400 and 500 kilos at the end of the campaign. But when you move to organic cultivation, the harvest is somewhere between 600 and 800 kilos, which means that yield increases, which is also better for the producers. Cajou Espoir also focuses on women. And thanks to this approach, we get enough support from our financial partners. And also, we are committed in protecting the environment through the development of organic plantations. And as I told you before, we are also investing in solar equipment. And finally, I want to say that we have various financing sources. Cajou Espoir is self-financed. Behind the company, you have shareholders sharing our vision and supporting our development. We have campaign credits with local banks, and we also obtain credit from investment funds. And we also have investment credits with special funds. All this is made possible because we are organized, we are structured, and also because we are very patient, because, mobilizing funds to fund an activity takes a long time. It's not a matter of weeks or of months. Sometimes it takes more than a year or more than 2 years. It takes more than 2 years before the donor can be assured of the quality of his investment. And then only he knows that we shall be able to repay the investments. So that was for my presentation. And of course, I'm ready to answer your questions. Thank you very much, Joël, for sharing your presentation. Thank you very much to Cajou Espoir. I'm sure that we shall receive many questions that will appear in the chat, by the way. So once again, thank you for sharing with us your successes with financial partners. This will be very useful to the participants. Thank you very much for sharing. And without further ado, we are now going to move to the second panel. Stephen is still away. He's not connected yet, which means that we are going to open a second panel with experts, especially experts supporting businesses in technical terms, how to get more funds. And of course, they will also give us advice on how to obtain finances. And without further delay, I'm going to give the floor to Natalia Svarinska. Natalia Svarinska is a development finance and investment professional, currently head of technical assistance at the EDFI management company. She brings over a decade of experience structuring and managing investment and technical assistance, supporting private sector development, particularly in emerging markets. Prior to this role, she worked as a senior investment officer, working on financing projects in areas such as energy access and sustainable mobility. Today, Natalia combines solid financial expertise with a strong commitment to fostering sustainable and inclusive economic growth. So she's going to speak about the role of EDFI, how to help us obtain investment, focusing on SMEs, of course. Natalia, thank you very much for being with us, and I give you the floor.
So many thanks, Tool. As announced, the intention of this presentation is really talk about technical assistance really as a complement to the investing capital that companies like ours could offer to companies, and also talk about a little bit, or happy to share our lessons learned of what makes the technical assistance or some technical assistance project more successful than others. Taking a step back, just a couple of words of who we are. EDFI Management Company. Perrine later on will explain a little bit more detail the AgriFi fund. But just for the benefit of all, EDFI MC Management Company is an impact investor. We invest in specifically in agri-food sector, in access to energy sector in developing countries, and we have a specific focus on Africa in general and then specific African countries. And then next to our financing capital, we offer technical assistance, which are effectively grants, and both are financed by the European Union. So as an investor, and this is where I would like to start my technical assistance presentation, we focus on the companies who are in initial growth. You'll hear a little bit more from Perrine afterwards, but effectively these are the companies who are past what we call incubation stage, who already know, who have done the pivoting that we've talked earlier on, who have tested their business model, who seem to have landed really on a particular business model that they would now want to grow. And now they're growing, right? So typically these companies are not necessarily mature enough or not yet mature enough for bigger development finance banks. But this is where the blended finance like EDFI comes in. And these companies, well, need support. When we talk about seed investing and referencing seeds like and plant seeds. This a little bit the same for companies. As seeds, if you want them to become mature plants, they need an adequate amount of sun, an adequate amount of water and nutrition to grow. A little bit the same as as companies. Obviously, they need a lot of things, but and capital, but they also need to support, technical assistance and generally support their growth. This is a slide with a study from Harvard Business Review that I have found effectively talking about how venture capitalists spend their time. Okay, this study may be a couple of years old now, and the study probably talks about venture capital in different sectors and maybe even different countries that what we are interested. But still, I think the message is pretty clear. When you work with early stage companies as an investor, you need to dedicate time, and you need to dedicate a lot of their time to support them. And effectively, VC investing is not only about investing, it's really about support. And here in this study, Harvard Business Review showed that almost 70% of the VC investors' time was dedicated to accompanying their investees rather than, and only 30% on actually investing and exiting their investments. So this is just to say to what extent technical assistance can really be important and can really be crucial to these companies. So a couple of words about us and our technical assistance philosophy, and which basically really evolves around creating value for our beneficiaries. So just to make sure, technical assistance, as we call it, are grants, are non-repayable grants, so we do not expect any financial return, contrary to our investment capital, but we definitely want our technical assistance to make important operational return for our companies. So the overall philosophy or the overall goal of our technical assistance is really co-financing projects that improve growth and sustainability of our investees, and that growth and sustainability can be through seen through various aspects. That's environmental and social sustainability, but that's also financial sustainability, and that is also technical sustainability, and really all else. So today we have around 7 million technical assistance budgets, which are under management, that are under management through our AgriFi and ElectriFi facility. So that, as I mentioned, is money is funded by the European Union, and it is really to be deployed to our investees. We have started implementing the technical assistance in 2024, and today we have something like 30 projects and almost 1 million euro of technical assistance completed and execution and contracting. And then since 2024, effectively since the beginning, we have contracted a technical assistance cooperation agreement, as we call it, with COLEAD, which is a general partnership agreement through which we provide a lot of technical assistance to our agri-investees. So for us, the technical assistance, when we talk about generally, investing in sustainability and growth of our investees, this really is about addressing critical gaps and building local capacity and simply enable access to the best experts out there that our investees would need. On this slide, this is how we generally present the technical assistance and what is it that it can do to our investees, and you see the different areas where it can be deployed. On an exceptional basis on pre-investment advisory services, but we also do training and capacity building, like coaching, training services. We can co-finance governance projects, impact measurement studies, any type of compliance and certification, be labelings, certifications, or any other types of compliance with contractual or regulatory obligations. And then the business operation support, which is my all-time favorite, which effectively means co-financing financing any projects, from the business operation support, then can help the investee again grow and grow stronger, be it in human resources, be it in financial management, external audits, digitalization, and also other things. And other really here is important. I thought this may be a good place to talk about lessons learned on technical assistance that we have learned over 2 or 3 years of implementing technical assistance as an investor, as an impact investor. So the first is what we have learned is that technical assistance should be fully integrated, or is at its best when it's fully integrated within the investment and portfolio operations. And from an investor perspective, it makes sense, right? These are investment officers, these are portfolio officers who really have a very good knowledge of the company, of our investee company, and also who know very well, the people that they're working with. So they are the ones who on the one hand side see if there's something that can be done even better, but also they are the ones to whom our investees can find in potential weaknesses that they experience on a daily basis, and then they want to work on. Something that we are trying really to work internally is whenever, an investee company has a bad news, because bad news always come, and sometimes internally we would be considering downgrading the internal risk rating for the company and see to what extent do we need to book some kind of impairment in our accounts or partial. Well, this is the good stage, not only you talk about all those negative things, but then also see, okay, our investee is having clearly hard time. Is there anything that we can do to help that company overcome the whatever adversities that it is facing? And this is again where technical assistance comes very useful. Now, the second thing that I wanted to mention about this successful technical assistance is that it really, really needs to be tailored to each investee needs. If you really want to make it successful, if you want technical assistance to be a solution, well, it has to be a solution to the particular problem that your investee is facing. Sometimes, though, there are things that that you do not know, but sometimes you don't even know what are the things that you do not know and how you can make things even better. And this is where we like to, for identification of the TA needs, obviously the main driver are our investee companies themselves, but we also work a lot with our technical assistance partner COLEAD, who can bring this external view of the company and have their experts effectively advise the company on what are the things that they can make even better. We have also realized that the types of technical assistance that are delivered or that are most requested by the investees depend really on the growth cycle. When we typically would have technical assistance focused on sales, market research, fundraising for really more earlier stage companies. But then as companies grow and mature, the type of problems that they face on a sort of recurring basis are a little bit different. And then the needs evolve rather to CFO services, internal controls, HR, organizational, effectively aimed at really building a stronger organization and helping the organization to grow. And then obviously technical assistants have to be systematic. So whatever specific studies that we co-finance have more value if they really enhance the structure of the target organization rather than providing it as a one-off service. When we do technical assistance, we typically ask the investee to co-finance at least partially the technical assistance, which we find is a necessary measure to really ensure that there is a buy-in within the company and that the company dedicates the necessary absorption capacity to the project. And last but not least, it sounds obvious when you read it on a slide, but this is really extremely obvious when you do it. The quality of the TA consultants is key, and I would even say the quality of the technical assistance is really limited to the quality of the consultant. So as a TA provider, one of our challenges really to understand what is the actual trouble that the company is trying to solve, and really try to connect it with the best technical assistance consultant that can address that that trouble in the first place. And the last slide, just to give you a few examples, one example here of the types of technical assistance projects that we provide, and here we'll talk about Cajou Espoir. So you've already heard Joël talk, and just to mention, so Cajou Espoir is an investee company of our AgriFI fund, and we have further supported Cajou Espoir with 2 technical assistance projects. One was about implementation of the environmental and social action plan. And here we hired a specialized Ines consultant who is still working with the company. And then the second technical assistance is the one that was referred to by Ines a little bit earlier, is really the beekeeping capacity building. And that I'm talking under Joël's control. So Joël, please correct me if I'm wrong. But there, the idea of the company was to increase the yield of its cashew nut trees in an organic way. And the solution was to invest in beekeeping, again, as he mentioned. But, you know, investing in bees, that also means you need to increase the capacity of beekeeping. And here, COLEAD made a wonderful project, really, where they have put together a team of international and local experts to train Cajou Espoir and really to up their capacity in beekeeping. Voilà.
Thank you, Natalia. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for emphasizing the key role technical assistance can provide throughout the process of getting ready for investors in order to fill the gap between a potential and reality. So please stay with us in case questions are asked to you, and I'm sure there will be questions. I would like to remind all our participants that the experts are with us today, and they are here to provide a viewpoint on the technical preparations, technical preparedness. So please don't hesitate and ask your questions, share your worries, share your expectations. They are here with us to help you in planning your different strategies. And now let's go on along the same line. And I'll give the floor to 2 experts representing Invest in Africa. Invest in Africa is represented by Mr. Bocar Alphaba, who is the National Officer for Invest in Africa Mauritania. Bocar has more than 20 years of experience across Africa and Europe. He works closely with SMEs to support their growth, with a particular focus on improving access to finance. And he has contributed by doing so to mobilizing significant funding from international partners such as the World Bank, the African Development Bank, the European Union, and GIZ. He has also played a key role in national programs on local content development and women's inclusion. His approach is highly practical, focused on building meaningful partnerships and delivering tangible results to strengthen SMEs. He will be helped in his presentation by Mr. Iba Fall, who is also country director, specialized in economic development and entrepreneurship. He has 20 years of experience across Africa, North America, and Europe. He supports SMEs in accessing markets and finance, while also assisting international investors in establishing operations in Africa. He leads projects funded by major institutions such as the African Development Bank, the MasterCard Foundation, and the World Bank. So I give them the floor for their presentation. And please listen to them and leave your comments and questions in the chat box. Mr. Bocar. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Ahoefa. Good afternoon, participants. You are many with us today, more than 100. We've heard a lot of excellent things, and I'll try, a contrario, to think out of the box for you to understand what we are doing. I suppose that you can see my screen. Who are we? Our objective, our dream is to create African champions. For this, we have 3 major pillars: matchmaking, markets, and funding. Through capacity building, we believe that by reinforcing companies, we can stimulate growth and change our continent. Beyond that, can you see my screen, Ahoefa? Okay. I hope I'm not speaking too fast. Okay. Financing. First of all, I would like to say that financing is abundant, but inaccessible. My previous colleagues said that there were some business review statistics reflecting this. More than 70% of SMEs do not get financing, and not only because technical assistance is lagging, but because there are obstacles, barriers. The first one being the fact that 35% only of SMEs obtain funds, which is not much. What about the market? The market is such that it is they show that it is so costly to exclude local SMEs. You have more than $400 million in lost revenue, and 80,000 jobs are not created. And all this could be created to these SMEs that would solve many problems for Africa. And another interesting statistics, each million invested in an SME creates 200 jobs in Africa. Competencies now, skills gap. If companies do not get funds, workers, they cannot get certified. They remain informal, and they won't be able to pay taxes, and they won't be able to mobilize national resources, domestic national resources, and roads will not be built, and so on. So growth is blocked. You have approximately 246 million workers who are uncertified. What are the main problems? First of all, prohibitive interest rates, excessive collaterals, lack of financial data, and missing middle. That is, either you have microfinance or major investments. In the middle, lots of SMEs that need money but that can't get it. And I am sharing these slides for you to digest those data. Invest in Africa has a clear purpose, namely to qualify to structure financing. If requests arrive too early, rejection will be immediate. For SMEs, SMEs are often in structure, which means that they are informal or highly fragile. What should we do? We need to focus on digitalization, because Invest in Africa is an integrator of digital data focused for you. This is not very complicated. We offer some tools which are not complex or complicated, but they just improve the way you can develop. We focus on simple digitalization as an answer to latent problems and acquisition of digital tools must be swifter. My predecessors spoke about the diversity of problems, and I'm not going to repeat it once again. This presentation will be shared to you. We have 6 pillars. You need 6 pillars to be bankable, to be investor ready. It sounds very fashionable, but what do we do? What you need is formalization, financial stability. You need to be audited. You need financial statements, structured accounting, minimum turnover. What you need is proper governance. What you need is a number of internal procedures to structure your company. You also need guarantees. What are the different types of guarantees? You should know that in many African countries, there is a legal obligation, namely to have tangible collaterals like a piece of land or as a collateral for your credit. Operations also, quality standards. What are your processes? We were given a very good example with Cajou Espoir. Cajou decided to get certifications to conquer new markets, which is crucial. And today, you need to be inclusive, you need to be sustainable, you need to be attractive to investors. These are major aspects that must be part of your strategy. If you do not get such certifications, you will find it difficult to obtain financing. Concretely, I know that Ahoefa insisted a lot on this. What are the criteria required to obtaining financing, to obtain funding? This is a simplistic overview of the situation. You have 3 possibilities. First of all, the letter of credit. Letter of credit for short-term financing from 90 to 360 days. That is short-term, from 3 months to 18 months. The basic ticket being $100,000. So this is short-term to meet import-export problems, to meet cash flow requirements. Financing takes place in a bit less than a year, which is difficult for you. Another possible option is what we call the integrated model, because it brings together a number of factors. You know what export credit agencies are. These are entities supporting exports. Often, European investors develop solutions meant to support EU exports. And an African business may wish to get supplies from the European market at advantageous conditions. And for this, we develop funding lines allowing you to get supplies from us at interesting credit conditions. Often starting from 3 million euros, and local companies must be able to absorb 15% of the credits, of the credit amounts. And of course, you need specific financial statements. So remember, 1 letter of credit, first option, starting from $100,000 up to several millions. In the short term, another model, integrated model. You get you supply a number of markets and you obtain financing options within a shorter time frame. And finally, the best of the best, in that you have a specific market and you need specific technical support. Here, you must combine a number of financing elements like letter of credit on part of the investment, an integrated model because you need a certain financing with European countries, but you also have other types of financing instruments. This is why we rely on experts who are able to assemble credit schemes meeting your requirements, meeting your specificities. This is what we call creative combined financing for small projects, but also for big projects, for infrastructure projects, but also for electrification projects, for instance, or factory building, agricultural projects, agribusiness projects. And this is not one size fits all, unfortunately. You don't have a single solution for a number of projects. It depends on you. It depends on your specificities. And based on that, you'll be able to attain a solution meeting your requirements. That's what I wanted to say. In general terms, I'll conclude by saying that Invest in Africa wants to change unbankable SMEs into investing opportunities for investors. We have a platform called African Partner Pool, APP. We are working with major operators, oil operators and mining operators. We are faced with a number of problems today, and we are ready to provide support to solve those problems. The colleague before me spoke about technical assistance. It's quite the same. How can we help you in reinforcing your procedures to become investment ready? There are a few more elements you will find in my presentation, so don't hesitate. The presentation will be shared with you. We believe there are talents everywhere in Africa. There are real problems, of course. We shouldn't brush them under the carpet. But we need to work on that. There are a number of measures, a number of steps you must take to get stronger, and we are there to help you doing so with extremely precise and useful facilities and tools. The aim being to help you get more financing. Thank you very much. Don't hesitate. We are available to you. See you. Okay, thank you very much, Bocar, for this, for sharing your views and for sharing this information. I don't know if Iba wants to add something. Thank you, Iba. I give you the floor. Yes, very quickly. Thank you and hello, everybody. Thank you for allowing us to introduce our organization. I'm not going to repeat what Bocar said because he went into many details, but preparedness for investments is an essential element. We often tell our financial partners that investment preparedness is particularly crucial. You need to present your organization properly, which means that even if you work in the agri-food business, see your activity as a business. It is agriculture, but it is also a business. And to access funds, to access investments, you need to properly present your business. This is the reason why we have decided to develop this tool, which is very accessible, highly ergonomic, and cost-wise also it is very accessible. It allows very small companies and businesses to present themselves, to introduce themselves in a professional manner, just like any big business. Allowing for proper monitoring of their activities with dashboards and so on, because unfortunately, Invest in Africa has been investing a lot, and sometimes companies which seem to be structured do not monitor their activities as they should. I also want to insist on off-taker programs. I don't know how to translate this in French, but roughly said, if you work in agriculture, if you are present in agriculture, work hand in hand with your potential buyers which have maybe a better relationship with banks. And those potential buyers may, for instance, undertake to buy part of your harvest, then it turns into a contract and it allows you to raise funds. And last point, in Senegal, for instance, you have a company, an agri-food company that was able to obtain a credit and grants with GIZ to pay its workers on the farm. I'm not going to elaborate on this. I don't want to keep the floor, but these are different pathways that should be explored by companies working in agriculture. Thank you very much. Thank you, Invest in Africa. Thank you very much, Mr. Fall and Mr. Bocar, for sharing. I believe that there will be many comments and questions in the chat box. And now we are going to move to the last presentation from this panel, with Perrine Duffaure. Perrine Duffaure is an impact investment professional with over 14 years of experience in climate finance, agri-food value chains, and renewable energy. She currently serves as Senior Investment Officer at EDFI Management Company, where she contributes to the support of sustainable agriculture and smallholder integration. She also sits on the board of the Fair Trade Access Fund. And she also has a role at Total Aaron and Ernst & Young. Perrine, thank you very much for your time, and I give you the floor.
I hope you can see my screen. Thanks a lot for the invitation. I think the idea of the presentation will complement quite well what has been said just before. So basically the idea is to present what we do at EDFI Management Company and within the AgriFI facility. Just in a few words so you understand who we are, as mentioned by Natalia just before, we are an investment management company owned by European DFIs, those that are on the left side of my screen. Maybe you know those names, maybe not, but these financiers are development financing institutions from Europe that invest in emerging countries, but often they expect quite high standards for companies to be financed. They finance very high, large tickets, and are not very accessible for many companies. And so that's why EDFI Management Company, that is owned by those DFIs, development financing institutions, was founded to try to bridge a bit the gap that was well explained by Invest in Africa just before, on companies that don't manage to access finance, that are sometimes too early stage for big players or big lenders, lack a bit of formalization, lack of track record, are too small, basically, because many lenders provide high ticket sizes. And so that's why EDFI was created at the beginning with two main programs, which you can see on the left side, on the right side of my screen, but on the left side of the chart, AgriFi and ElectriFi, that focus really on what we call early stage companies. Of course, that may be structured companies when I look back at the chart presented by Invest in Africa. Something to have in mind is first, and that would be a first piece of advice, to understand exactly where your company is located on the growth path. And so what are the financing partners that you can count on? If you need seed capital and grants, that's something we cannot provide. We accompany companies that have already some track record. But if you are still in the pilot phase, then you need to focus on other types of investors. Same, if you're in the growth stage, then you can have access to other lenders. So just first understand a bit. I think it's important to understand where you're positioned on the growth stage. And so what are the type of investors that can be able to finance your activities. I will go strictly to AgriFi just so you understand. So AgriFi, we finance agricultural value chains in emerging countries. What it means, the objective we have is to target smallholder farmers that have very little access to financing and to strengthen smallholder farmers' activities. But to do so, we invest in different institutions, either impact funds that can provide other types of instruments that we cannot provide. For example, we have invested in funds that provide very small equity funds into SMEs, for example, in Uganda. We have invested also in funds that can provide working capital facilities, so short-term working capital facilities that are needed to back the liquidity, to support liquidity issues, all agri players and mainly smallholder farmers, organizations and cooperatives can face, so based on the seasonality of the commodity. So this is one type of investments we can do, and that benefits in the end the smallholder farmers. We can also finance financial institutions and mainly microfinance institutions that would lend to either smallholder farmers, but also to small and MSMEs in emerging countries that still have quite small fund amounts to be raised. And finally, we also finance in SMEs along the agricultural value chain that also allows to strengthen a bit this agri value chain. But we don't finance, of course, directly smallholder farmers. Just to explain a bit, and so I think that will support quite well what was just previously said by in Africa. We have quite some eligibility criteria. We target early stage companies, but still we need to bear in mind that we are owned by development financing institutions in Europe, that we've managed funds from the European Commission, and so we do have some criteria. In terms of standards, first, Ines and financial standards. So we expect companies to have some track record, to have audited financial statements, and to be on the path of financial sustainability. It's an impact-driven facility, so it's key for us to be able to demonstrate the impact of our investments. But to do so, we need to have clear KPIs clear KPIs that are set, but clear reporting also from the company that we finance. And we focus on the agri-food supply chain, as I've just mentioned. In terms of offer, we provide tickets from 1 to 5 million. So 1 million might already look very high for many companies. That's the minimum size we can provide, which means that the company we would invest in, we would request it to have, let's say, at least 3 million euro or equivalent in USD or local currency to be able to repay, of course, this loan over the years. We are focused on long-term financing. So still here, I think it's very important that you identify which lender is focused on which type of financing tool and financing instruments and for which purpose. In our case, we finance a lot of capex, which requires long-term financing. We can also finance expansion for financial institutions. We can finance permanent working capital, which is also needed in the context of growth and expansion of activities. And we want to make sure that we are additional to other players, while being happy to co-invest with other investors. We provide flexible terms, so there is where we try to be additional and to to provide something that is not available in the market. So we don't expect to have full collateral on the investments made. We often even don't take securities, to leave those securities to local players, for example, or to banks. We can provide junior instruments, which allows then the companies to get senior investments, and to have one of those tranches that is catalytic. We can also link the loans and the interest rates to specific sustainability targets. So we try to be as flexible and as innovative as possible to fit with the demand and to fit with the needs of the companies. We can provide grace periods. So for example, for expansion purposes, when there is construction of a facility, grace periods are key to have the time to build the facility before starting to repay the loan. We can also provide local currency. And then we also provide technical assistance when needed for those who want, on top of our investments. I just saw in the chat that some were expecting technical assistance and wanted to discuss with Natalia. I want to stress here that technical assistance in our case is only available to existing investees or investees or companies that we are assessing and where we plan to invest. So we don't provide technical assistance without investing and without providing either a loan or an equity investment. Just so you have a view on our geographic footprint, we manage different facilities under AgriFI. You can see here a few countries, but we are expanding our activities. We have quite a broad footprint in sub-Saharan Africa, because with the global facility and the ACP regional window focusing mainly on sub-Saharan Africa, we can cover almost all countries in Africa. And we have specific windows in Ghana, in Tanzania, Sri Lanka as well, but also Nigeria and Togo being unlocked today. We are discussing new country windows in Zimbabwe, in Ethiopia, in Angola, where we will have appetite and we will be able to take more risks, even to deploy those facilities. I won't spend too much time on this, but just to mention that it's key to understand also what's the instrument that you are expecting. Do you want to raise equity? Do you want to raise debt? Do you want senior debt? Do you want junior debt? And I think that's really key in your path to fundraising. And as I've mentioned, the KPIs on sustainability and impact are really key for many investors, and what are often what is driving the investments. So it's important also to have reporting capabilities and capacity internally to be able to report on the impact. Here are just a few examples of companies we have financed, just to show that we can intervene along the value chain, starting with input and services through production, processing and distribution. The idea is really through AgriFi to be able to strengthen agri-value chains all along the value chain. And just to show, and I think that's important to keep this in mind, many companies may not have the capacity to go through some investment processes. It's been said just before with Invest in Africa. I think that's also something we can assist with technical assistance, but governance is very key for us. Financial management capacity is key. We often see companies that have no CFO in place, and that's really key along the investment process. We need also clear ENS capabilities. So those are things that can ease the process to get the approval and to make the investment. That's also something we can support the company with, so that they grow together with us and can meet higher standards, so that for the next fundraising, they will be able to target bigger players with higher standards still. And this is just basically the investment process. We need to go through different committees that will provide their feedback. We will go through legal and ESG due diligence. So it's quite an intense process, and companies need to be aware that they will need to go through all the process to be able to disburse, which can take, as Cajou Espoir mentioned, quite some time, depending on the ability and the readiness of the company to face this. And this is just our team. So please feel free to reach out to us if you think you have good projects that fit our criteria to be financed. And thanks a lot.
Thank you, Perrine, for sharing, especially on concrete criteria, which are quite the same as the ones described by Invest in Africa. It gives much more visibility to our participants on the possible forms of assistance and support. We don't have much time left, so we're going to give the floor directly. We're going to move directly to the chat box with questions and answers. First of all, Jovia.
The question is, could you please share more details about how you financed your starting and the growth of your company or your startup? So if you are there, Jovia, I'm giving you the floor.
Thank you so much. So majorly in the early stages, I was doing what they call, is it called bootstrapping? And that is using your own money. And lucky enough, I had co-founders by then, and we have a team, and the team leaders I was working with, we managed to get something small, at least to start with the initial stages. And I know it can be frustrating, it can be draining, but along the way, you need to keep on applying. I've sent some of the links to the group. Majorly, if you're just starting with applications and all these things, get to know rejections are real, and there will be so many before someone really gets invested in what you do. But every rejection is a step for you to work better. And then also, one of the things that personally I usually do before I apply for something, I get to read, am I really eligible? Because eligibility also is something that people don't read. They just go on and apply, but you don't know, is it for your country, is it not? And then also most of the times it's better to get a recommendation from someone. So meet as so many people as you can, talk to them, make sure they have a very good impression about you, and make sure they know what you do. Because if they know what you do, most people nowadays just link you to someone and you find an email or a message on your LinkedIn and you're like, oh, I linked you to this and this person because I see it is fit for your business. This and this grant will majorly work best for you. So you need to invest in a website. If you do not have a website, please make sure you have one, because that is the first place people will go to look for you, to look for your business. Make sure you have a registered business name. There are simple things, but it is just that simple step that makes you stand out. So I know most of us are into agriculture and you're just doing crops and all, but have a business name. Have something that you know, this is my brand. If my cocoa goes to the market, it is called this and this cocoa. Like, add value to what you're doing. Like, make yourself exceptional. And when you're looking for funding, it won't be very hard, because they'll look you up and they'll know, oh, this is Jovia Kisaakye, this is Ecobed. We see what Ecobed does, so it will be easy for you to access all this funding. And most of the things that I do is get onto LinkedIn. There are pages that have opportunities. There's opportunity tracker, there's opportunities for Africa, there's opportunity, like, just type the word opportunity, you'll see opportunities based on what you do. There are opportunities for women, there are opportunities for people in West Africa, the opportunities for COMESA. Like, there are different categories of organizations that are here to help you. I'll give you these links. And most of the times, I also use ChatGPT at times, because most of the times you get to realize there are so many things you can't keep up with. So go to ChatGPT and ask, outline for me the opportunities I can apply for depending on my organization. Basically, for me, I would say, outline for me the open calls for that align with Ecobed's mission. And it will align all of them, and you go check up on them and see, do they really align with what you do? Are they grants? Are they investments? Are they loans? So you get to know what really works out for you. So thank you.
Thank you, Jovia, for all these advices and recommendations.
I believe that these elements are quite important for all our participants. And now I'm going to move to Joël. Beyond structuring our producers, are you considering to develop technical services and so on to reinforce your relationships with producers? Are you considering to open up your capital to small producers, to integrate them in your value chain, and to strengthen your position? I give you the floor. Joël, are you around? Are you with us? Yes? You should be with us. Okay. He may have a connection problem. I give the floor to Natalia. We have many participants asking for more information. So, are your opportunities limited to Africa, to Southern Africa, West Africa? Is there a link that would allow us to see what is available in terms of funding and technical assistance? Also, are there projects available sponsored by you in Jamaica? Thank you very much. First of all, it is true, and maybe I didn't emphasize this in my presentation. Our technical assistance funds are only available to businesses in which we are invested, which means that we do not offer subventions or grants on the market. It's only for companies where we are invested. Concerning the link, I believe that a link has been shared by Ines. Indeed. Just look for EDFI on the internet. Regarding Jamaica, no technical assistance is possible, maybe investment. I may ask Perrine, but I think yes. Yes, thank you, Ines. The link has just appeared on your screen. Just been posted. Okay. Perrine, do you want to add something? I also have a question either to Perrine or Natalia. Take a small company, a small business. Can a small company like mine receive a financial and technical support? It's a company which is based in Morocco. Yes. This business is not one of our investees, so it can't receive technical assistance. Regarding funding or financing, we have many criteria which I may share with you later on. But as I said, the first criteria for us is impact. Impact for smallholders. Is that impact? Are the indicators allowing to trace the number of families that will be positively impacted by the project? And is our investment going to increase that impact on smallholders in terms of a number of producers, but also in depth? That will be our first criteria. Second criteria, to benefit from one of our investments, a business should be able to repay the ticket, $1 to $5 million. In general, we expect revenue beyond 3 million to be able to repay the investments. It depends on the duration on the final ticket, just to give you a rough idea. And also the balance should be big enough for the AgriFi investment not to represent 40% of the total balance. So the financial criterion, also, as I explained to you, the growth perspectives of the business, its profitability, these are also key elements, and also we invest EU Commission funds, so we also rely on ESG criteria. We want the companies we are subsidizing or we are investing in to comply with those criteria. And to that extent, we need some reporting. And all these criteria should be met before we can engage into discussions. So reporting is particularly important. Thank you, Perrine, for these different elements. I believe it is now clear for the participant who asked that question. And now I would like to thank all the participants for their questions. And I can assure you that exchanges will continue. Don't hesitate to leave us your comments, your worries, and your questions. Later on, my colleague will give you a link and it will allow you to clarify all the gray zones which may still persist. If you need advice or guidance, another question. My name is Julius. I'm a farmer in Nigeria. I only farm during season. But he says that he's gone through different trainings on smart farming, and he finds it difficult to mobilize funds to launch his activities. He needs some guidance. He needs some advice to get better organized. And I'm going to ask Mr. Bocar to provide us with some information. Yes, thank you. Ahoefa. I believe that the simplest thing would be for our friends to, it would be to get a grant. He needs to go grant hunting. EDFI, for instance. EDFI provides financing from a certain size, but it comes with constraints. You need to prove that you exist, you need to prove that you have a certain level of activity. And here I have two pieces of advice for you. First of all, start hunting for grants and restructure. And I'm preaching for myself. Digitalization is crucial because it will allow you to manage your sales, your stocks, to manage your customer-oriented policy. It will allow you to manage your projects. When did you plant? When are you going to harvest? And all this will prepare you to grow and to get more structured. And once you are investment ready, and before considering asking for bigger funds, you will be able to produce a full history of activities justifying that you are ready to take off. Money does not come free. African money does not come free. So you need to get structured at a small scale, step by step. Take your time, get structured, try to find what is available, and get prepared for the day investors will be there, and we can help you in that preparation. I hope I've been clear. Thank you, Bocar, for this advice. It's a good conclusion for this series of questions. We really have no time left, and I would like to apologize for that, but I believe that our exchanges must be relevant. We hope you've had a good time with us. Before leaving you, I'm going to give a floor to a PAFO member who is going to summarize the key points that were mentioned, what you should keep in mind from this session. And please stay a few minutes with us if your agenda allows it. So Aimable, please, I give you the floor. Thank you very much.
I'll take you through key takeaways very shortly. I know a lot of have been said, but I managed to capture just key important points. You know, we had a group of speakers. I just mentioned in blue, Mrs. Jovia from Uganda, Mr. Joel, Mrs. Natalia, Mr. Bocar, Mrs. Perrine. I mean, we have been all discussing about this topic, and one of the things that have been highlighted is the acknowledgement of partnership between PAFO and Ecobed for this innovation service program, and participation of all of the people and the inputs from the speakers and participants. And we can note that there is a special appreciation to all companies and institutions that have been investing and provide technical support to entrepreneurs and others, mainly the EU Gateway and others. Number two, it has been highlighted that access to finance and for investment is very critical, not only for Africa, but also for Europe and for entrepreneurs and other categories, just to tackle the challenges affecting either public sector. If you talk about public sector, you talk about governments and public institutions, private sector, entrepreneurs, traders, farmers, civil society organizations, mainly women and youth. And it was also highlighted that the investment should be accessible and affordable to transform developmental initiatives into results and impact from global to local levels. So anything that has to be done with investment, it should trigger the impact at different levels. Number four, the access to finance and investment should be at the center and should be aligned with Kampala Declaration domestication and implementation processes, which is the continental driving guidelines from the African Union Commission in the NEPAD, as far as other continental, regional, and national priorities and programs. So the investments and the finances are very key. Now, from the presentations we have from entrepreneurs, there are a certain number of lessons and hints that can guide us. Number one, if it comes to investment and initiatives, we need to have needs assessment to better know what problems should be addressed to maximize the impact. So I remember Jovia from Uganda saying that there is nothing new. Most of the people say nothing new. So we can just rely on existing initiatives and scale up. And we need also to check and listen to feedbacks from the customers because they know what they want. So understanding what they want, their reactions from the products is also very critical. We need to invest in and build the teams, whether we have little or big resources, but we need to build the team. We need to strengthen the capacities of the team. We need to work on the public relations of what we have so that we can showcase to the people what we do. And we have to work on the networking so that we can learn from others. It is also very much recommended to analyze continuously the market and scan the environment because the world changes day by day. So by scanning, by analyzing continuously, we can be able to know where to invest, whom to interact, and so many others. We need to strategically register our businesses. So in various countries, there are various regulations, but we need to know where and how, in which modalities I should register my business. We need also to understand the funding systems and start small. There has been a very good contribution that people always wish to have big grants, big loans, but without starting small and learn, do pilots, sometimes we can end up messing up with all the resources we have. So we need to work on financial discipline so that we can show the results from the even retro we get. I'll be very brief. We need to work on certification. We need to focus on the quality of the products, especially when it comes to exports. We need also to work on inclusivity, women, the youth, which is very critical, and diversification of resources, sometimes either through credit, funding, and others. We had presentations from the technical assistants with investors, which is a very, very important point to be explored so that we entrepreneurs and others can approach those agencies to explore the opportunities. We need to have appropriate technologies, which is very critical in terms of transfer of the technology. And we got a presentation saying that there are more funds, but some of the funds are not accessible because of so many reasons, including limitation of capacities. So we need also to use integrated approach and invest in readiness programs before looking for finance investment. So those are just very key and few of so many discussions. I'm sure the detailed report will come out. Thank you very much. Over to you, Admin.
Thank you, Emma.
Thank you for this summary, high quality summary. I believe that we are all very satisfied. Thank you very much to each panelist. Thank you for the quality of the exchanges. Thank you very much for the quality of the information you were able to convey. I believe that we can all be very appreciative. So, as I was telling you, we have exceeded the time. If you have a few minutes before you, please stay with us to get information on our support model. COLEAD indeed is providing you a support model. By you, I mean businesses. And I'm going to give the floor to Weiting. Weiting is going to share this training model, COVID training model. I give you the floor, Weiting.
If you can see the screen.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And as time is really passing very quickly, I'm going to limit my presentation here and just to let you have a quick overview of how COLEAD can support you along your investment readiness journey, especially as it pointed out by several panelists today during the session. We all know that there's access to finance. A journey, it's not linear, it's not single step. And along the way, there are a lot of many myths around it, such as like only large companies can get the funding or investors only care about profit, as we have heard from EDFI. It's definitely not the case, and sometimes impact investor even emphasis is more on the impact, like in terms of the kind of positive impact you can create on the environmental or social perspectives. So in reality, it's like social, like investors, founders, they're looking for more about clarity of your project and the credibility of your business. They want to know about how, if your business makes sense, if your team can manage the risks, if your team is creating positive impact, or where your numbers work, do you have enough financial management skills? And this is why key documentations such as your business model, business plan, financial plan become very essential. And we understand, we fully acknowledge that not all of the business start at the same point. Among all the participants today, I'm sure like you are probably in the different stages of your business at this moment, and that is perfectly normal. And that is why we have designed the investment readiness path, as you can see on the screen, to try to tackle the challenges of investment readiness through like bit by bit, piece by piece, step by step approach. And we as you can see on the screen, we have broken down the investment readiness path into 4 different steps, from business model validation to business plan support and financial plan and strategic decision support, and finally matchmaking. That's where you're probably in the moment of approaching potential source of funding. And we have designed different type of support, from webinars, which is open access resources, open to public. It's free to check on our YouTube playlist, to self-study course, which it's something that you can check out on COLEAD e-learning platform. All the links will be shared along with this presentation after this webinar. We also have some collective training, which are open to COLEAD partners based on your application for support. So that to cover you based on your level of maturity of your business and different stages of your business. So time is short, but I want to leave you with a final takeaway. Access to finance is challenging, especially when it comes to innovation and when it comes to youth or female entrepreneurs, and we all know that. But preparation will make a huge difference. Exchanging with other participants or other peers in the industry will also make a huge difference. So thanks a lot for COLEAD Network and License team and PAFO for organizing this session. From A to F point of view, when your business model is clear, when your strategy is documented, and when your numbers are credible and your financial management skills are strengthened, you move on from asking for funding to presenting investment opportunity to potential founders, and that's a very different conversation. And through the investment readiness path, together with all other support that COLEAD is providing, we aim to support agripreneurs like you in making that transition. And by that, thank you very much for listening, and I'll hand it back to Ahoefa to conclude the session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Weiting.
Yes, thank you, all of you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your interest. We are reaching the end of this webinar. I invite you to continue your exchanges. The links we mentioned will be sent again to you, and see you next time in July, when the 27th webinar will be held with PAFO. Thanks to the interpreters. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, participants. I wish you a good afternoon. Bye-bye.